Hi, everybody. Happy Halloween. We are having a costume contest in the office, so I thought I would dress up too and be as festive as possible for today's Halloween Halloween week webinar. So thank you for joining us. I'm a cat, in case you didn't know. But this cat will still get into all of the ADU guidelines, all the rules between a lot of the cities in California. It is a new state law that was passed last year. So we'll talk about how many ADUs you can add, where they can go, some pieces about seismic retrofitting too, if that applies to your building. And then, as promised, at the end of the ADU portion, we will get into a segment all about the required balcony inspections per Senate Bills 326 for condominiums and HOAs, and Senate Bill 721, which are for apartment buildings with 3 or more units. So this ties into our ADUs because most likely, if you're a multifamily property owner, that's doing ADUs. 90% of you do have buildings with 3 or more units, and we also have a special with our ADU construction contracts that we're offering the free balcony report. So, okay, again, my name is Helen. I'm with ADU One and Retrofit One and now Balcony One. We're all the same company. We just have different areas that we serve. So that way we're kind of a one-stop shop for all of your needs. And we serve multifamily properties, communities, HOAs, as well as single family. So let's begin. And before I forget, there should be a chat room to the side. So if you have any questions, just feel free to add them to the chat, and I will see them after I stop sharing my screen. And here we go. All right, so again, welcome to ADU One's webinar. I'm Helen. This is some of our contact info if needed. I'll also type it in the chat a little later. An ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. As you see here, it has its own independent living facilities, kitchen, bathroom, as well as its own exterior entrance. They were typically used as, home expansions, additions, places for your family to stay with you, elderly family, adult children. What we specialize in is mainly rental income. So we really help you maximize your rental income, your investment, your asset. But of course, we also still help if it's a single family home that you need for just as an addition or for your family to stay with you. We can still cater to those sides and let you also know what the most kind of economical option that you have. We let you know the most economical option you have regardless, so that way it can increase your rental income at the same time. There's 2 types of ADUs that you can do, and this is for both single family and multifamily, called attached and detached. Attached ADUs are kind of like what you see here in this photo. It's part of the structure of this main house. This was a garage conversion. The same goes for multifamily properties. You can do conversions of structures that already exist and are attached to the building, such as tuck under parking, a storage room, or a garage. For single family homes, something else that you can do under the attached rule is you can build new construction and attach that to the existing structure. So you can build it as an addition to the existing structure. However, for multifamily properties, you cannot do that. You cannot do new construction and have it be connected or part of the structure. For multifamily properties, they do not want you messing with the existing footprint of the building. You have to leave it as is, and you can either convert what's there as long as it's uninhabited space, or you can do the other category, which is detached. For single family homes, you can also build new construction on top of the house. Every city has its own rules. You're usually better off building like on top of the garage, or sometimes they have you do it in the center because it has to match structurally the house. So we would let you know all of that, but that is something that you can do for a single family home. Again, you cannot do that for multifamily. Attached is basically defined as an internal conversion of existing space, garage, tuck under, storage, rec room, something like that, basement as well. For detached ADUs, you can do same type of conversions for a detached structure. If you have a detached garage, detached workshop, storage room, something that was once uninhabited. So actually, I don't know if workshop would work. I know you don't live in it, but some cities give some problems depending on what it was used for. But we'll stick to just like a storage room, a rec room, a garage, carport, something like that. So for both single family and multifamily, you can convert those under the detached rule. Or for both, you can also do new construction under the detached. When you're doing new construction, it does have to conform to building separations and 4-foot setbacks for the side and rear. Here's an example of a detached ADU. It is not conforming to side and rear setbacks because this structure already existed. So if it's a legal structure that's already there, you don't have to worry about setbacks in most places. How many ADUs can I add? So for multifamily properties, under the attached internal conversion rule, you can do at least one unit. So if you have a duplex or a triplex, you can still do at least one ADU that's attached, and or up to the 25% rule. So let's say you have 8 units, 25% of that would be two. So you can do two attached. So if you have an 8-unit building with like a row of tuck under parking, you can convert the tuck under into 2 units. We're actually about to start plans for these two mirrored 8-unit buildings in Northridge, I believe. The buildings were already retrofitted, and they're 8 units each with at least 1,000 square feet each of tuck under. So the owner is going to get two roughly 500 square foot each, which are fine for 1 bedrooms, 1 bath, two. So each of his buildings are going to become 10 units, which is really cool. He's going from 16 to 20 units, which is awesome. If you have 20 units, you can do 5 attached. I just visited a building yesterday that had 42 units. So technically, the owner can do 10 ADUs there as attached. And he had a very large subterranean parking. Subterranean parking can get a little tricky because there are different rules there. But if we're able to have the proper egress, windows and doors, and plumbing, and just all of the other building codes, then you are able to use subterranean parking. Sorry, I'll go back. For single family homes, the general rule is one ADU. So that's, you're just a little bit limited, at least with quantity. We do get questions for single family homes because a lot of people ask, I thought I can do 2. The second ADU that you can do for single family homes is if it's owner occupied. So the owner has to live in the house. If so, then you can do what's called a junior ADU. The junior ADU is maxed out at 500 square feet, and it has to be in conversion. It can't be new construction, and it can't be detached. So again, you're maxed out at 500 square feet, has to be part of the home. In this case, it doesn't have to be uninhabited at any point. I believe you can partition and close off like a master bedroom, add a kitchen in there with an exterior entry, and that could be your junior ADU. But again, the owner has to live in the junior or the house. How many ADUs can I add regarding detached? So in most areas, in addition to the 25% or the at least one attached, you can do up to 2 detached ADUs, which again can either be conversions of existing detached structures or it can be new construction. If your city allows, you can also build on top of the carports or garages. LA is a great example that they do allow both. So you can do the 25% and up to 2 detached, and they allow you to build on top of carports and garages. So LA is a great area that if your building's a good candidate, you can add more units on there too. Places like Santa Monica, also an excellent option to build on top of an existing detached garage or carport because they have a higher height allowance, excuse me, which makes it much easier to build on top. So we really love working with Santa Monica. They have some kind of rules, such as they don't want you to expand detached structures. So that might be limited, but you can still build on top of them. And I believe they also said you could demo the existing structure and then build something new. It doesn't make much sense to me why you can do that and not just expand it and cut out that extreme step. But that's what they've told us recently. So we have to follow what the planning department says. Again, for single family homes, it's still only one ADU. So it can be attached or detached, still that one ADU and the junior ADU if it's owner occupied. On the right are some cities that do not allow both, meaning they make you choose between attached or detached ADUs. Santa Clarita, for example, they'll have you choose either attached or detached. Torrance, Long Beach, La Habra, Costa Mesa, and so forth. A couple of other cities that do not allow building on top. Glendale is one of them. It's one story only, just like West Hollywood and Pasadena. South Pasadena does allow you to do 2 stories, except on historical properties. So those kind of differences and discrepancies will come up sometimes if the city already has their own local ordinance. It's, of course, within the parameters of the state, but the state does not require that they allow every single rule or allowance. They do give the cities some control over types, a little bit on size within a range. So we will let you know what your city says. Seismic retrofitting. So the reason that ADUs are tied with seismic retrofitting is because you can actually do both together. A lot of people, especially in LA, what other cities? Santa Monica, West Hollywood, Pasadena, Glendale right now, it's coming soon, but we get a lot of voluntary ones in Glendale. I think Culver City may have just passed theirs or they're about to for seismic retrofit requirements. And if you're in NorCal, I believe San Francisco was maybe the pioneer of city mandates for this. Back in maybe 2013, they required. So what it is that if you have this dingbat style building, such as this photo here on the left, with parking underneath dwelling, that's called a soft story line. So these soft story type buildings are considered weak and vulnerable for seismic activity, aka an earthquake. And throughout many earthquakes, including some horrendous ones in San Francisco a while ago, the Northridge one here in the 90s, and there were others. The buildings collapsed, people died, lots of damage to property, to the buildings, to everything. It was awful, and it would happen to these buildings. So many cities throughout California are requiring seismic retrofitting, which is structurally reinforcing them for the earthquake. And banks are also requiring this for refinancing, regular financing, buying a new building. They're requiring you to do this because they want to protect their asset. So, as mentioned, you can actually combine this. So, prior to the ADU law, so prior to 2020, when the ADU law came into play, allowing it in multifamily buildings, multifamily property owners had to retrofit their buildings. Usually, at minimum, it's 40 to 50 grand for a standard building with a column or two, and it can go all the way up to 100 grand, 200 grand to retrofit these. And, of course, safety reasons trump everything, and the lives of your tenants and residents. But we definitely understand having to suddenly pay $75,000 out of nowhere isn't easy. So what we like is that at least with the ADU law, you can combine the seismic retrofit requirements and build your ADUs at the same time. As you see in this rendering, those red steel, it's the red steel element, the columns for retrofitting of this building. They're kind of concealed within the structure of the ADU, and the tuck under parking is being converted to the units. Here's another one also using steel reinforcement. conversion into a unit, so at least you're getting now some monthly income back, and it's showing the detached units also on the property. This is a building that requires seismic retrofitting. On the left, of course. So they're not even using all of their parking. They just want to use some, put in a unit. It's a 6-unit building, so they can only do one anyways, but they don't want it to be gigantic all the way across, and they still want to preserve some parking. Totally fine. So this was an example showing them if we use the one elevation side of parking, they would still, I'm not sure if you can see this, but these dotted squares with what looks like a wide H, those are I-beams for the columns, they would still have to seismically retrofit the building, of course, within the structure and still in the other parking areas outside of the ADU. So this one is showing if they use the middle spaces, we can actually use strong walls within the structure. It would save their cost for retrofitting, and then they won't need any additional elements outside of the ADU, and it can be within the ADU structure. So here's some current projects. This is a layout done for a 360 square foot unit on top of a carport. Because of its layout, we were able to get a 1-bedroom, 1 full bath out of this. Of course, it's a little compact, but it'll be a very nice brand new unit. And at least with these smaller ones, they're going to be priced much less than a 2,000 square foot or 1,000 square foot unit. So it does help provide slightly more affordable units for people who need that. These 2 units are about 400 something square foot each. The owner requested them to be 2 bedrooms. They're going to be very small bedrooms, but this is what he knows his potential tenants need. They need a place to cook their food, a full bath, washer, dryer, and unit. And this is what we were able to design for him. Here's an example of, this is a multifamily building kind of in the Hollywood area, I believe around Melrose, with an existing detached carport in the back. And we will be reinforcing that carport significantly. It was very old and in bad shape. We're going to be significantly reinforcing it, if not just tearing it down. And we're going to be putting 2 units on top. These are 1-bedroom, 1.5 bath units that will be on top. This building is another retrofit building showing the rear and the front. The front is a single efficiency unit that we will be doing. The back is a 2-bedroom, 2 bath with all of the retrofitting elements inside. Here, these are older photos. So actually the picture on the right, we're already completed, which, you know what, if I can squeeze it in, I will, for next week, I will show some updates for this. We completely gutted down to the studs, the main house in Lake Balboa, just wiped out the whole house, gutted it, redid it. It's done. It's beautiful. And we are excavating the rear, just getting it prepared for a 1,200 square foot ADU that's going to go back there. Here's a current project that we're doing in Inglewood. It has tuck under parking on the side and the front. So we're going to be doing turning those into 2 units. And here's a rendering of a unit on top of a detached carport. Here's a rendering of a seismically retrofitted fully up to code new detached structure that was built for an area of uncovered parking. So if you just have a row of uncovered parking spots in your lot, we can put 2 units on top and still keep the parking spots that were there and still put your ADUs. So the parking rules are, because I know we discussed a lot of using the garage, using carports, parking spots. The rule is you have to give your tenants at least 60-day notice and give them a reduction in their rent if you are taking away their parking. This is extremely important specifically for rent-controlled units since you can't increase their rent. So you do have to give them a discount, roughly between $50 to $200, and that varies on how many spots and so forth. Regarding taxes and Prop 13, your ADUs do not trigger a reassessment of your original price of the property. I just realized I've been rubbing my nose, so I don't know how my cat nose looks right now. Um, anyway, the value of the ADU is then added onto it, and you declare that value when you're pulling the permit. So it has to be pretty reasonable. You can't put $10, but it then becomes a blended assessment. Um, we've been hearing the average is about $1,000 more a year. So that covers it for our ADU portion. Now I'm going to just briefly get into SB 721, which is for units or 3 units or more, buildings with 3 units or more. You are now mandated by law to have your exterior elevated elements, triple E, inspected. You have to inspect these every 6 years, but I believe we've been getting word a lot of NorCal and possibly San Diego, a lot of buildings are getting letters right now, all with a March 2022 deadline. So I'm not sure right now if any in other areas of Southern California, Los Angeles, or Orange County are getting that. If you are, let us know, and we're here to help. We can provide both your inspections and the repairs if needed. The inspections have to be done by a licensed engineer or a B general contractor with at least 5 years of construction experience. It can be done by, I believe, a few other trades, but we are luckily licensed engineers as well as B licensed contractors. So this entails inspecting your exterior elevated elements, the triple E, so that are at least 6 feet above the ground. So any balconies, walkways, stairs, decks, bridges, even handrails, I believe, have to be inspected specifically for their waterproofing. And this was made because several years ago, I believe in Berkeley, there was the Berkeley balcony collapse. A lot of students died or were severely injured. And then recently in Malibu, a balcony collapsed. In the 90s, another balcony in Malibu collapsed, killing 2 people. So it's really terrible. If left untreated, it can result in death. So this is really important to address immediately, especially if you can physically or visually see some damage to your exterior elevated elements. So as mentioned, you do have to have these inspected. We are then on a timeline to give that report back to you, and you have to get it fixed depending on the severity of what we find. If nothing is found, then we will note that in the report that it is okay, it's up to code, no waterproofing issues, and you have to keep that report for up to 2 cycles. If there is damage, depending on the severity of the damage, then you would have to get that repaired. The main deadline is January 1st, 2025. However, we have been hearing a lot of people are now getting hit with March 2022 deadlines. Yeah, so we have to give the report to you within 45 days. You have to keep the report for up to 2 cycles. And depending on the severity of the damage, there's a timeline for getting all of those fixed. So that does it for the ADU portion and the balcony inspection portion. If you do have a 3+ unit building and you would like a quote for doing the report and the inspections, let us know. The last thing I read was regarding especially larger complexes. You have to get at least 15% of each type of element inspected. So if you have many balconies, many stairways, many walkways, you have to do 15% of each element for the report. So we have a standard price for the report, and then which includes one type of element and one test. And then there's an additional fee per additional element that's needed to help you reach that 15%. Under SB 326 for the HOAs and condominiums, it's a little different. They say something about 95% has to be done, or it's a little ambiguous, their language. So we're working with the state right now on kind of solidifying what they need within that 95%. So that way anything we tell you or do for you is always accurate and up to date. Let's see. Anything else to add regarding our ADUs? So again, the reason they are related is because if you sign ADU construction with us, we do provide you with a free report, including one element. So that is included with your construction. And part of our ADU packages, not part of, what they do include, we provide both services between the engineering and your construction. So we do A to Z as far as ADU services go. We do the engineering, the submission to the city, architectural design, all of those. So the full set of plans, we submit them to the city, and we do the full process with the city as well until their RTI. And then, of course, we do offer the full scope construction, including finishes, fixtures, materials, floors, cabinets, bathrooms, kitchens, lighting, doors, plumbing, plumbing within the unit. Sewer line is separate, but we offer it all. And we have different ranges for the types of materials. So you can just do straight builder grade. You can get more premium if needed, and we can work with you on that. So we're super easy to work with. We're a family owned and operated company. So we're pretty transparent. We love to communicate. You'll always find somebody that you can reach when you call or email us. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I will type out our website, apartmentadu.com. And Balcony One is our division that will be specifically for balcony, but it's all the same people. And you can email. I'll just put my email if you have any questions. Let me see here, Helen at adu-1.com. Don't forget the dash. Just let me know, and we're here to help. So until next time, happy Halloween. Have a very safe weekend with your families or with yourselves or whatever you want to do. Just be safe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.